Hey guys!
I'm Tendrina.
And I'm Talia. And welcome to our new segment. And we are calling this Two Teatails. ...
Yes, we're very excited about this. It's essentially a advice column that we're starting here on our YouTube channel, obviously, where you guys can ask us questions about your personal life, about the news, about the economy, about absolutely anything, and we will try our best to offer you some advice, some answers, whether it be through research or if it's a personal issue through our own personal experiences. We're very excited to share, and we hope that you guys can trust us with some of your issues.
Hopefully when you hear us speak logically, and when we kind of make sense sometimes, you'll realize we have some decent stuff.
Yeah, we just feel like we can relate to people because a lot of you guys who watch us are the same age as us, going through the same things. So we figure, why not?
Why not try and help?
Share some tips.
Exactly. So the easiest way to get in contact with us is, if you know us personally, feel free to write us personally, but we prefer if you email us at taln10@gmail.com, or if you want to, slide on through those DMs at Teatails_ on Instagram, and hopefully soon we'll make a Twitter, and you guys can reach us on there as well for those Twitter people. So if you have anything you want to ask, feel free. We're more than willing and happy to talk about it.
Answer. So this video is be kind of lengthy or very informative, so get comfortable, get your cup of tea, we have ours here, and be ready.
So we were emailed by someone recently, so what we're going to do is read you the email and what this person feels as though they need help with, and then we're going to go through, a bunch of tips and advice on how we think you can best solve your issue.
Yes. Obviously this person's going to remain anonymous.
Yes.
That's another thing. When you email us, you can let us know whether or not you would like to remain anonymous or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Oftentimes, I always hear people calling me angry, and I'm completely far from it, but lately it's starting to bother me more than usual, and maybe it's because my emotional barrier has taken a couple of hits after being diagnosed with an incurable disease, a sick father, 4 jobs including work with at-risk youth, and an unhealthy living environment, and grad school. I've always been one to hold on more on my shoulders than the average person, and many people don't know that, and with good reason. I don't trust many at all. But lately, as I'm getting older, I want to break out of it, but I don't know how to. I feel alone. Being in grad school is completely different. It's not like the undergrad life where you can pull up to a party or a mixer and make friends. And the friends I do have, I think, have already labeled me as this angry person. This may not be true for all of this person's friends. I want to be able to break out of that shell, but I need help, or at least advice on how to really do a full exorcism. I don't want to be the girl that's just labeled angry anymore. Just not sure how to peel the onion.
Okay, girl.
Thank you for your submission. First of all, thanks for sharing your situation with us and trusting us to offer you some advice.
Yes. And we hope that you learn and get some valuable stuff from what we have to say.
Yeah.
So we got our notes here. We planned a little bit. And one thing that we're going to generally start this whole thing off with is it starts with you.
Yep.
So if you want to see change, especially if you want to see change in other people towards you, it starts with you.
That's true.
If you want that exorcism, you got to do a 180. You have to flip around stuff in your life to make sure that you're good and to make sure that you're satisfied with how people perceive you and view you and react towards you.
Right. What's good is that what the problem is. You know that the way people perceive you, and you know that you don't want that. Whether or not you are this person that people see you as. So that's good because now you can tackle it. I feel like it's as simple as taking care of yourself first, mentally, physically, emotionally, on all aspects in order to do what you want, essentially.
Yeah, that's totally true.
So what stood out to us in particular was the fact that you wrote down all the things that you're going through in life. So you wrote down diagnosed with an incurable disease, a sick father, 4 jobs including work with at-risk youth, an unhealthy living environment, and grad school. So you know everything that's on your plate. I would suggest that you write this down again, and you write down specifically, unhealthy living environment, sick father, incurable disease within myself, you write down the things that you're going through so that you can visually see, and the things that you can control, you should pinpoint so you can figure out what you want to negate,
right.
if that makes sense. So you have 4 jobs, including one working with at-risk youth. First of all, I commend you for working with at-risk youth.
That's beautiful.
Because obviously that's a very important job. But unless that's a career that you want to work towards, which it very may well be, if it's not, you yourself are going through a lot. So it might be hard for you to separate work from your home life, which is already so very overwhelming. So if you want to consider even dropping one job, maybe it's not going to be the one where you're working with at-risk youth. Maybe you do like that job. If you do like that job, you should find a way to separate your job from your personal life. If you do enjoy that job and, you know, you have these 3 other jobs, maybe find out if there's a way that you can increase hours at another job if it's the income that you need, but completely negate a job that, you know, you don't want to be in so much. You seem like the type of person that takes on a lot. You actually said that in the email, that you take on a lot. So you might also be kind of afraid of disappointing people and letting people down. But again, you should be focused on yourself right now. So you shouldn't be afraid to say no to a job. Be like, actually, I can't work here anymore. This is going to be my last day. And just dip. Because you got to focus on you right now.
Right. And especially if you are trying to give 100% and everything, if you are not 100% within yourself, you can't give 100% in something that you're doing.
That's
so
right.
like Tendrina said, with that job, let's say you got 6 jobs, you know, you can't give 100% at all 6 jobs because you're so tired all the time. Or that one job is really just bringing you down in terms of attitude and mental, you know. So think about that. That was a really good point, Ten. So going off of what Tendrina said about not being 100% within yourself, a lot of times what we tend to focus on is the negative in our lives, which is not how it should be. If you want to see that change within yourself, like I said, you have to start with yourself. So you want to exude positivity. And even if people already perceive you as a negative person, once you start exuding positivity and constantly saying all these good things, putting out good things to other people, someone's going to notice that and be like, wow, you know, wow, look at her, or look at him. He's so different, so positive. Like, what happened? Then that could open up a door to a conversation for where you could possibly say, I was actually never a negative person. That's just how people saw me. Or, you know, you could start talking to people and saying, hey, you know, I don't feel like I'm this negative person that everyone sees me to be. If you notice an opportunity for that conversation comes up, or you can just start it on your own. But once you start putting out positivity into the universe, positivity is going to come back to you. And I'm a firm believer of this. We're both a firm believer of this. Positivity and prosperity, they go hand in hand. They literally go hand in hand. So think about that. Think about, and just for anyone, think about what you put out into the universe. If you constantly, you know, post on social media about the bad things that are happening in your life, people are going to see that and they're going to be like, wow, she's going through it. I understand why she's so angry, or I understand why he's so upset all the time, you know? But if people say, oh, wow, they're really happy, I wonder, you know, what's going on, I'm chatting.
Essentially, don't let the labels that people give you become you. People are very judgmental. That's just how humans are. I've been called things that I'm not. Talia's been called things that she's not. But what's good about knowing yourself, which you know yourself, obviously, because you wrote out to us who you are, and that's not how people perceive you.
Right.
Since you know yourself, you can own who you are 100% and put that out into the environment, and people will start to reframe their thoughts and reframe the way they think, and you can teach them a very valuable lesson about judgment.
You can. And what's great, like Tendrina is saying, take every opportunity you can to tell someone who you are or how you are. Because if someone thinks something of you that's not true, just tell them that's not true.
Exactly.
And whether they believe you or not, that's their own problem, but now you've done your part. You know?
Exactly.
And who's to say someone could, because people used to think that I was very unapproachable and mean all the time. But then once they got to know me, they'd say I was smiling nonstop, which is true. That's how I am. Now when they meet someone else, yeah, she's not mean at all. She smiles all the time. So that's you know, it perpetuates something. It makes a cycle, and it goes full circle.
All right.
So in the email, you also mentioned something about having a lot on your plate, and not many people know that for good reason. So one thing that I want you to take from this is sit back and think about why you think it's a good reason that people don't know what you're going through. Why do you find that you don't want anyone to know about it? Because think about it. If I'm going through a lot, I automatically go to my close group of friends. It could be my mom, it could be Tendrina, it could be my other close friends, and say, God, I had the most stressful day. And sometimes, even though I can't change it, I had a stressful day,
Right.
just talking about it to someone makes it so much lighter off of me. It's like, oh, okay, I got it out. Or someone understands what I'm going through, you know? And even if they don't, maybe they can, you know, give a word of advice to say, hey, you know, maybe you could have done this, or maybe that's why this happened. It's just nice to have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So think about, because from what we read in the email, you want people to talk to. But if you have that mindset of, yeah, it's good that nobody knows anything about my life, no one's going to be feeling open enough to receive what you want to say or to have a conversation
Or
with you.
to even ask you.
Right, exactly.
That's a friend's responsibility. You have people in your corner, according to the email that you wrote. So you have friends. Their responsibility as a friend is to listen to your problems and to try and help you. And if they're not willing to do that, honestly, you really don't need them in your life.
You don't. Because there's no sense in having someone that isn't going to support you in your life. That's detrimental to you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So if you are finding that, you know, the people that you thought were your friends are actually not your friends, what I would recommend is to find another group that you know, kind of relates to you. People who understand what you're going through, who have similar ideals and values for you. For me, that place would be someplace like church. You know, I was raised in a church, so I understand the environment that people are in, the way that we think, the way that we do things, the values that we have as people. So I can get along with the people that are in church because I know that we think the same way. So maybe you could do the same thing, whether it be through church, whether it be through a hot yoga class or a painting class or some sort of hobby, or maybe it is even through grad school, because I'm sure that a lot of the people that you're in class with are studying the same things as you, obviously. So maybe even through that, you want to find people who you know kind of see life almost in a similar way as you do, or even just have some similarity with your lifestyle, and kind of go from there.
And like Tendrina was saying, if you don't find that you have friends that can relate to you, because you did mention that you have an incurable disease and a sick father. Not everyone has an incurable disease or a sick father.
Yeah.
So for example, I can't relate to you in the sense of the incurable disease.
Yeah, but I don't have an incurable disease.
Right,
you don't
exactly.
Have an incurable disease.
But maybe someone, if you seek professional help, can help you with that or help you feel better with that. Or if you look for a group, maybe there are groups that have the same disease and they share the same experiences. It's good to find people that share that so you can have some sort of relation with someone, you know? Think about finding professional help like I just said 2 seconds ago. Mm-hmm.
Or even, like Talia said, it doesn't need to be somebody who's going through the same things as you, but it could be somebody who's trained to listen to you. Right. Oftentimes when people think professional help, they think, oh, well, nothing's wrong with me. Okay, nothing's wrong with me either, but I'd love to go talk to a psychologist because they are completely unbiased people who are trained to literally just sit there and listen to you. They're not judging you. They are understanding and absorbing what you're going through, and they are there to offer you advice in an unbiased way, not thinking that you're angry, not thinking that you are somebody who's a loner, not thinking any of these things, and they're just going to teach you how to go about it that way. Like Talia said, neither of us have incurable diseases, but I personally have a best friend who does have an incurable disease. Right. The only thing I can really do within my power is to lift her up. But sometimes that's not necessarily what she needs from me. But I can't offer her all the time what she may need because I don't understand exactly what she's going through. And you know, it's important for her to have other people in her life who do know what she's going through, or even the research environment. The internet is what I'm referring to. The internet. And finding people who are going through what she's going through and reading about the experiences that other people have been through. You could do something like that, or you could talk to a professional psychologist or something like that, and they can relate to you without you having to do any work other than just talk.
Right. Also, too, a good point to take from this whole thing is just to be a little more open. And that might be hard. That might be a change that is going to be very different for you. But you don't necessarily know what's happening in someone else's life, because they may not, just as you don't feel comfortable telling them, they may not feel comfortable telling you because they're getting that vibe from you. For example, I remember when my dad was sick for a long time. He had cancer, and it just didn't occur to me to tell my friends. Because in a sense, I had my mom, I had, you know, my sisters. So I spoke to them about it, but I just remember feeling that joy when he was cancer free. And I told my friend, I was like, guys, my dad just came back from the doctor and he's cancer free. And they were like, what? We didn't even know your dad had cancer. And I remember I told one friend and their dad was sick, and they said, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. My dad's going through something too. I wish I would have known. I could have been like a support system. So you don't know what support you have if you don't open up. And I think it's important to also be open with your friends, because if they do perceive you as a negative person or as an angry person, it's good to have a conversation. Because like you said, some of your friends don't see you as angry, right? You did mention that, and it might not be true for all of your friends. Pinpoint those friends. It's great to do this. I do this with Tendrina all the time.
Vice versa.
If someone is noticing something about you, but they don't see you that way, like for example, Tendrina can come off as, a little, standoffish sometimes. And I remember one day she came to me and she was like, Talia, why? This person said this to me. Why do you think they said this? And I was like, well, from what I can see, I don't see you as this way, but this is probably why they thought that. Because the way you said this, and she got it. And that way she could take from that situation, and moving forward, she can understand. And that way when she reacts to things with new people, or when you react to things with new people, maybe, don't roll your eyes so much, or don't give them like a neck roll or something, or maybe don't be so snappy. So things that other people notice about you can help you change yourself.
Or maybe even just your facial expression. Maybe even just
it could be the
giving
thing.
Smile, or receiving a compliment, or giving a compliment. It could be the littlest thing, but like Talia said, exuding that positivity will bring it right back to you. Not to say that you're not a positive person, because it seems like you are a very positive person, but make sure that other people can see that visually from now on. Don't let anybody put any labels that don't belong on you.
Right, and it's more so for you. It's not to show people, I'm positive, I'm positive.
Yep.
It's for you, because once you start feeling that positivity,
and owning that.
Oh man, when I tell you, it's such a world of difference. It's a world of difference. You start seeing the world differently. You experience it differently, because now you notice all these positive things keep coming your way.
True.
It's really a beautiful thing.
So just to elaborate off of kind of receiving positivity, what I noticed in life is that me and Talia are very different in the way that we approach people.
Yeah,
we're both very people persons, but I already have my core group of friends, so I don't go out into the world trying to make new friends. I know, but Talia is very friendly. I'm very to myself, about my business, 1, 2, 3. Talia is not so much. She's about her business, but she's also about getting to know the people around her. So my advice to you would be to, when you meet people like Talia, kind of accept that positivity into your life. For example, I'm not trying to make any more friends, but if I go out into the world, for example, like you're in grad school, if I'm going to grad school class and I meet a Talia on the way, I am receptive of her energy, and I reciprocate that energy back. And from that little moment is the way that you become friends with somebody.
That's actually really how we became friends.
I was actually thinking that. As I said I was like, wow, that's crazy. We really became friends like that. Just by returning somebody's compliment, or returning their smile, or just being like, just as excited as they are. You can create a lifelong bond just because you guys vibed off of that one energy. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense.
I feel like that's how I made a majority of my friends, to be quite honest.
Me too.
Because they it's not that they came up to me, and it's not that I necessarily came up to them, but I said a comment and they reciprocated that comment, and
you went with it.
We just took off.
You seem like a very private person, which is okay. It's okay to be a private person. But if you kind of want to bring new people into your circle, I would recommend kind of, if somebody comes up to you and starts a conversation with you, go ahead and
keep that conversation.
Exactly. Go with that conversation for a while. Go out with somebody if they ask you out, not like on a date, but like if somebody asks you to go bowling, go bowling. Go to the bookstore, something. Put yourself out there and accept the energy that people put into your life, the good energy that people put into your lives, because you deserve it.
Right. You seem like a wonderful person, and we want you and other people to experience that wonderfulness about you. So basically, like, to wrap all of this up, just keep in mind that it all starts with you, for one. It definitely all starts with you. Remember that you are a great person, and to function as that great person, you want to be at your best. You want to be at your 100% mentally, physically. Remember not to take at too much in at one point. And if you do take a lot in, try and find a person that you can relate to and talk to about that, whether it be professionally or, you know, personally. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, also remember that you can't necessarily control what people think of you, but you can control the impressions that you leave on people, if that makes sense.
That's very true.
So, what you can do is you can be yourself 100%, own that, and put that out into the universe, into the environment. No matter what people say about you. Oh, they say so-and-so is angry, but you don't act angry, so they're going to take that back eventually. Don't let people label you.
The more people that you encounter and have a good encounter with, the less people will think about you negatively. Because then, like, one person's out there saying I'm mean, 2 people are out there saying I'm always smiling. So there you go. 2 over 1. So just to wrap it up and recap what we've said, just remember that if you want to see change, be the change that you seek. It all starts with you, and if you want it, you gotta start it. Be the catalyst in your own life. And if you're taking in too much, just remember trying to eliminate those toxins. If you have 6 toxins, make it 4. Find a way and figure out what's bothering you more, what's bringing you down, what's weighing you down.
And what's in your control.
Exactly.
That you can
eliminate. And let's say you can't eliminate anything. Maybe find someone that will listen to you, whether it be a professional person or a friend, someone that you feel comfortable sharing these things with. Remember to be open. And if you want to change these perceptions, start putting out different things. Be positive if you don't want to be seen as negative or angry. And people will start changing these things. Also remember, you know, try and be more receptive to people and what people are showing to you and giving to you. All of these things will help you in the long run. And just remember, if anyone else is watching this can apply to you too. If you find yourself to be experiencing any of these things.
I completely relate to this issue personally.
Me too. Me too.
And you know what? Don't forget that you don't need the people in your life that are putting negative thoughts into your mind, that are telling you that you're angry if you're not. You need to stick to those friends who want to uplift you, who want to put positive thoughts into your mind. Those are the people that you want to keep around. If you're consistently hanging around people who don't want to accept who you really are, you don't need to accept those people until they're willing to grow up. So surround yourself with positively prosperous people. She's right. It's like we laugh about this, but when I tell you we abide by this like no other, it makes a world of difference. We should make a video specifically on positivity.
You know what? We will. Because it's that real. Yes, stay tuned.
And yeah, I think that's basically all we want to say. One more thing that I did want to say to you, our viewer. First of all, thank you for writing to us again and for trusting us with this issue and for being our first Teatailers. Yeah. This was a great question and a great situation. Second of all, don't forget, just because you can't control the thoughts that people have on you does not mean that you can't change the impression that you leave on them. You can leave a great positive impression on them and make them change the way they're thinking, and make them realize, oh, okay, I'm kind of being a little ignorant. Let me get it together. So focus on leaving a lasting positive impression on people, and I feel like people will be willing to accept who you really are instead of labeling you as somebody you're not.
You're beautiful.
Yes, you are.
And you're great and you're amazing, and we want the world to see it.
Yes. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed our first 2 Teatails. Don't forget to write to us if you have any questions of your own at talent10@gmail.com or slide into our DMs at Teatails_. We will catch you on the flip side.
Bye, guys.